What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and we have a lot to talk about, so we're not going to waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into the Before You Summon video, because we have some harsh decisions to make, and I really hope most of y'all were here for the 4th anniversary, or 3rd anniversary, sorry, because, well, if not, you got some rough decisions. All right. So, jumping right in, we're going to talk about the new banners first. We talked about this earlier in the news we got. We're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail, but once again, I don't want to spend 20 minutes on just the new units because we have a lot to discuss. So, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the new Eyes unit, okay? So, the new Eyes unit, pretty respectable unit. I don't know if she's the end of the world, but she does some really interesting things, okay? Skill 1 for her, foes, plural. Fast, mid-earth physical attack with ultra critical rate, regen rate, and physical resist and earth resist all down 30%. Now we have earth resist, I believe we have a 40% debuffer on that already, but we don't have that with physical, and the fact that it does regen really is going to bring earth back into prominence for Wargame. That's really what this is about. Getting rid of that regen rate makes her a stall breaker, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Though, if I'm honest, I don't think stall has been a huge thing. I think ailments kind of come back into prominence after the units we got back in October and November. But that's my opinion. You know, some people have said they've come up against some pretty wicked stalls, especially with Winter Haruhime back in the game and all that. So, decisions. That said, the regen rate is real. Now, that's not heal rate. That's regen. Regen is only specific to the heals that happen at the end of a turn. So you do have some decisions to make there. Now, skill 2 for her is a foes, plural, slow, super earth physical attack with ultra encounter rate and temporary strength boost. Removes HP regen buffs and HP heals. If that's the correct translation. There's some question as to whether that translation is correct, but that's what it looks like right now. Once again, stall breaker. That's what this Eyes is. This Eyes is designed to just come in and wipe out heals. That's a Wargame build. I think I said Record Bus before. That's a Wargame build 100%. So, love that. Skill 3 for her is not the end of the world. It's a foe singular super earth physical attack with high critical rate, 40% per each, 40% attack damage per each physical resist debuff skill. So you have to hit your foe with physical resistance debuff on both the adventure and the assist side. So once you do that, she'll hit decently. But remember, she doesn't buff herself. She has no buffs. So don't expect her to be a damage queen. I almost said king. Do not expect her to be a damage producer. This is just kind of a standard throwaway third skill, in my opinion. She's really a stall breaker. That's what she is. That's it. So if you've been having problems with stall teams, she'll do something for you. Whether that completely takes care of stall, I don't know, but that's going to do something for you. Her SA, which I didn't talk about before, is Ultra Earth Physical Attack, Ultra on Guard Rate, and Temporary Strength Boost with Earth Resistance down 50%. So, I'm going to be honest, I don't really see her being used outside of Wargame, if I'm totally honest. And some people have already said they think she's overrated. Once again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you she's going to be a damage queen. She's not producing damage for your team. All she's going to do is bust through that stall. If you have a lot of healing going on and you're up against a crazy amount of healers, she'll help you out. But I don't know if she alone will do the job, though that second skill will be pretty awesome. The problem is you can't set her to AoE like that because she's always going to basically default to skill 1. She's going to do skill 1, then skill 2. Now, killing the regen rate would be nice, but she's only going to remove it on turn 2. So I think she's good. We'll just have to see. Only time will tell as to how good she actually is in the long run. We really basically going to have to wait to see how this new Wargame that we're going to get here tonight, how this shapes up as to how we kind of perceive her going forward. Hate to say it, that's just the reality. That said, her stats are really good, but do bear in mind she doesn't buff strength or earth attack damage. So once again, she's not going to produce damage. Tiona, on the other hand, is absolutely 100%. Though interesting how her skills work out. And I believe we actually have it confirmed how this works. So we're going to go over this real quick. First of all, Tiona's skills. She is a little on the squishy side for my taste. I really like units to be closer to the 4,000 HP skill set, though that's typically for physical units. Magic units tend to be closer to the 3,500 HP mark, but her MP is off the chain. Her agility is okay, not the end of the world, but a triple S magic stat makes her extremely, extremely good. And our fire teams are really going to be nuts after this. So if you've got, like, I've got a great fire magic team, I really, really, really want to max this unit out completely. My fire teams are going to be unbelievable. Skill 1. Self. MP and fire damage 65% for 4 turns. That's good. Not the end of the world, but that's very good. Gain 3 additional actions, foe, singular, low fire, magic attack. Okay? Skill 2, and this is where we start to get interesting stuff. Foe, singular, high fire magic attack, removes strength and magic buffs. It's a great skill to have. And self, damage plus 120% per each foe, singular, strength and magic buff. So 120% damage is pretty awesome. Now, it does say strength and magic buff. I believe the way this works out, and I could be wrong here, but I believe the way we've actually translated this out is per strength buff and per magic buff, she'll get 120%, which is wild. But very few units buff both those skills. That said, you do come up against a rare unit that does, she'll hit like nobody else. Though it's going to be very, very rare. Though you put her up against Finn, we have a Finn Record Buster. We don't know who Record Buster is tonight. We did not get that information, unfortunately. It wasn't in the data mines. It wasn't in the live stream. I don't believe. I didn't watch the live stream, but the notes I got on the live stream, it wasn't there. So if tonight's a Finn Record Buster, you max her out and watch her lunch cook. It's going to be nuts. Absolutely nuts. So per strength buff, per magic buff, she'll get 120%. Most of the time, she'll only have 120%. And this is, like, equivalent to somebody that does 60% per, like, you know, let's say a unit that gets, like, 60% per, you know, strength buff. Equivalent to that, give or take. Now, once again, if somebody has strength and magic buffs, yeah, that's going to be wild. That's going to be totally wild. Somebody did bring up an interesting point. Using her in Wargame, I don't like using single target units in Wargame. It kind of defeats the purpose. That said, if you have teams that are buffing strength and magic across the board, not terribly often you come up across that. If you can get past the squish factor on her, she's going to one-shot anybody she touches. It's going to be wild. And even her second attack is going to be crippling. So that might be a really fun... I don't think it's going to be like... That's not going to get you to Jester or anything like that. But if you really just want to fart around and like test damages out and things like that, I'm going to try that. That actually sounds like a ton of fun. But you got to find the right team and all that stuff. I'm not going to tell you that's going to climb the king one wall. Sorry, guys. Hate to tell you this. It's not the case. But I love to see the damage she's going to produce. It's going to be wild. Skill 3. Super fire magic attack, high critical rate, magic resistance, and fire resistance down 35%. I don't suspect you're going to use this terribly often. If you do, you're using it for the magic resistance, not the fire resistance, because you should probably be using Fire Elise. Elise, technically is her name. That said, if you don't have Elise, you could, because she's a physical unit, or you just want to keep buffing the magic fire team, you could definitely use this. It's only a 5% difference. So, fantastic unit, absolutely a must-have for any fire team. You gotta have this unit, she's nuts. Now, the SA gets wild. Foe, singular, ultra fire magic attack, removes strength and magic buffs, self-damage plus 150%, that's the equivalent of a 75% buff per each foe strength and magic buff. Now, once again, you're not going to come across a lot of units that do strength and magic buffing, but when you do, that 300% is going to be killer. Again, I'm going off the translations we have. I believe that's how that works. I could be wrong. We did say earlier today there's an outside chance that might require both buffs to be in place to get that. That would be very wild. I think the other way around makes more sense. Except it doesn't, because that's an insane amount of damage. Just basically, if you want to take on Finn Wrecker Buster for any time in the near future, you got a max limit breaker. I will be going after this unit hard. Hard. She is going to be nuts for a very long time. Like, the level that Anya was last year in last year's New Year's event, how crazy she is and how frequently we use her still to this day, that's this unit, at least for another year. Minimum another year, if not more. I don't see anybody exceeding that amount of damage, given the very specific circumstances. Once again, very specific circumstances. I believe this is the first unit we have that's broken the 100% barrier on anything. Anything. And we're going to... You'll see here in a moment. We'll talk about something that makes her even more dangerous, even more disastrous, and even more amazing. But we'll get to that in the second banner. All right. That said, let's go ahead and move on. Ina. I keep calling her Ina. I get corrected all the time. It's technically Ina. And yes, she is wearing clothing. The YouTube bots are probably going to murder me for this one. Either way, whatever. She's in game now. There's nothing we can really do about it. HP not the greatest. MP really good. But she's all for magic. All for magic. Okay? Ina, what does she do? Now, max limit break, and I wanted to say this. We always talk about the max limit break skills. Earth resistance and fire resistance and counter rate all down 15%. Critical and penetration rate up 10%. She's amazing. You want this unit. You got to have this unit. Now, if you do not MLB her at level 60 and up, she will do earth, fire, and counter rate 10%, and critical and penetration 7 or 8%. I don't know which one it's going to be. Probably 7%. To be completely honest. But I'm going to be honest, if you're going to go after this banner, max limit break this unit. These units are not time limited. You can use prism bonds. Hopefully you've been saving some of your hero medals and flame amulets. There you go. You want this unit. If you're summoning on this banner at all, you want this unit completely. You need her. She's a must. Okay? Let's talk about the second banner, because this is going to be an interesting situation here. All right? First up, Aisha, because I'm a simp, 100%. She is a magic unit. Her magic is off the damn chain. Her agility is really good, really good. Not groundbreaking, but extremely good. HP is very good for a magic unit, almost on the level of a physical unit, so she's great in that regard. MP isn't the best, but you give and you take. I think for what she's going to get for HP, you can sacrifice a little MP. That is going to be awesome. She's not going to squish like most other magic units. She's going to be extremely respectable. Okay? Skill 1. Foes, plural, super fire magic attack with ultra uncounter rate. Allies remove strength and magic and dex debuffs. So all your allies get rid of their debuffs. That's nice. That's very nice. That'll be handy in a lot of events we're getting, as far as like EX events and 7th zones and things like that. That's going to be super, super handy going forward. And she's a fire unit. I told you we'd get to fire units here in a minute. I 100% told you. Now, skill 2 before we get there. Foes, plural, fast mid-fire magic attack with ultra on guard rate, ally strength and magic and fire damage plus 40% for 4 turns. All allies get that. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it is definitely going to be somewhat handy. Now, this is that weird situation where if you're buffing strength and magic index and you go up against somebody for whatever reason that has the Tiona unit, she's going to ruin your entire life. But she's really just a general. If you don't have another buff, she's going to be a good buff. Basically, if you remember the Elise that we got, the physical Elise, her SA does that, but to 60%. This is like a baby version of that. Your units are still going to hit pretty respectably. It's not the OG, like 15 to 20% buffs, 40% buff is respectable. It will add up quickly. It's not going to make them damage monsters, but it will definitely help them in the long run. That is skill 2. Skill 3, foe singular, high fire magic attack with ultra penetration rate and temporary magic boost. Skill 3 is a complete throwaway. You're looking at skill 1, skill 2, and her essay. Her essay is what makes her an absolute must if you have Tiona. Hear me out. Essay, foes plural, ultra fire magic attack with ultra critical rate, temporary strength boost. Temporary great strength boost. Allies, fire damage plus 100% for 1 turn. But, this is a big but, that 100% coupled with Haruhime's strength and magic 100% is going to make your fire teams unstoppable. The only downside is it's an AoE attack, so if you throw her on Record Buster, which a lot of us are probably going to wind up doing to produce a little bit of extra damage, her skill 3 is not going to be so hot, though after the buffs it will be, and you can't buff her in the same turn that you do Haruhime's unless you're running someone like Winnie or somebody like that. It's going to take some finagling to get her to work right, but imagine Tiona with her 150% SA with 100% strength, or technically she's magic. 100%. Is she magic? She's strength? God, I don't remember now. That's so sad. 100% magic, with 100% magic, and 100% fire, and the 150%. She's going to be unreal. Unreal. So, yeah. We're going to talk about situations. I really feel like when we go up against Finn, though Finn does nullify like everything, either way, I really feel like having this unit, if you have Tiona, is a big boon. Although you're sacrificing one unit that can do damage, I think what you get in the long run out of her is going to be worthwhile. I'm going to say if you're going to go for Tiona, you really got to hit this banner and get Aisha, but I already said I'm going to max level break Aisha, and I'm probably just being a simp. That said, let's move on to Haruhime, which you're going to hit this banner anyway for Haruhime. All y'all are going to hit this banner for Haruhime. I know you. I know my viewers. I know my people. And I don't blame you because I am too. Haruhime. Haruhime's skill 1 is an ally's dex and earth damage and magic resist plus 40% for 2 turns. So magic resistance plus 2 turns really kind of takes the wind out of the sails of the other 2 units we just had that I said you really need. Self agility plus 60% for 2 turns and gain 2 additional actions. Foes, plural, low earth, physical attack. She's got good stats here. She's got good stats. But an interesting balance unit, and she is a bit of a support. Skill 2. Now, worth noting, her MP isn't the greatest, and Skill 1 does cost 61 MP. So Skill 1's only something you can get off maybe 2 to 3 times tops before you have to rebuff your MP. So you really need, like, if you're going to use her, you probably need to have somebody that, like, trickle charges your MP a little bit. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. Skill 2 is a foes, plural, fast, mid-earth physical attack with ultra and guard rate. AoE resistance minus 30% for 1 turn and remove physical resistance buffs. So, yeah. Takes away their physical resistance buffs and debuffs their AoE resistance 30%. She is a major support for AoE teams, and I feel like we're going to see her a lot in Wargame because of that. That said, she's probably more of a sack unit for that very reason. Just saying. Skill 2 is probably something you're going to get off a lot just because of that. If you want that, basically set her to AoE. It's her only AoE effect. Though that said, I mean, if you hit that turn 1 after everybody else buffs, the only downside is, and I will say this, the only downside is because that's a fast skill, and because her agility is so high, you actually do want that turn too. Because this agility is going to make her do that really early, and it's fast. So if you try to set her to AoE, she does it turn 1, she's going to basically not have that turn. You got to have her turn 2 anyway. And if you get S1 off first, then turn 2, you're going to have this skill. So she's not really, I mean, and the only nice part is she's going to turn 1, her turn 1 skill is going to affect actively maybe nullify magic rush teams, though it's not a fast skill, so probably not. I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out. I really feel like magic rush teams are still going to come in clutch. That said, she's a little something for those teams, because remember, they're going to have high dex. I think most of those units have like let's say a dex. I think their agility is slightly higher, so they might go first. But the fact that she debuffs dex and buffs magic resistance, buffs dex and magic resistance is going to help out in the long run. I don't know. But skill 2, you're going to get turn 2. So you've got to survive the magic rush to get all that benefit. That's the only downside to this unit. If skill 1 was a fast, it would be broken. She'd be broken beyond belief. Just throwing that knowledge nugget out there. Skill 3 is another foe singular throwaway skill. Super Earth physical attack with ultra critical rate, self damage plus 40% per each self. You're never going to use that. You never use skill 3. She's skill 1, skill 2, and that's all you care about. Her essay, Ultra Earth physical attack with ultra on guard rate, removes strength and magic buffs, allies remove strength and magic debuffs. Now that remove strength and magic debuffs is nice, but we already have units that do that with their skills. She's a skill 1, skill 2 for Wargame. That's it. That's all she's going to be used for. And I think she's going to be very respectable for Wargame. I don't think she's going to nullify Magic Rush, but she's definitely going to make Magic Rush teams sweat a little bit when they see her on the field. So, we shall see how she plays out. I just really feel like her agility isn't 100% there. Hestia! Once again, Hestia's got some fantastic stats, and she's 100% built for physical teams and physical units. And Hestia unfortunately ushers out the age of Artemis. Artemis is now irrelevant because of Hestia. Foes, plural. Magic, endurance, and dex plus 15%. All allies get strength plus 20%. RIP. You had a great run, Artemis. I'm going to miss you, but we're going to maximum break Hestia on this banner. Get all of those skills. And, yeah, we're going to be in great shape. Magic, endurance, and dex minus 15% is another one of those things you could throw on that Haruhime and really kind of take the wind out of those magic rush teams. So basically, if you run this Hestia, you run a agility debuffer, and if you're able to like maybe slow them, maybe they don't have any anti-ailment or whatever, if you're able to slow them down on top of that, then your Haruhime is going to have more of an opportunity to do her thing. Now, Haruhime is not going to be a damage monster, but she's really going to be a nuisance to those Magic Rush teams. So if you got Haruhime, you got to have Hestia. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and limit say you've got to maximum break Hestia anyway. Guys, I told you the New Year's units are going to be fantastic, so I hope you saved some Iris for these banners. Now, here's where I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Oh, I do want to talk about the free 11 draws. We're going to be getting these every day, and it's going to come with a gacha that you can scratch off and maybe get some CP items, so you need to make sure you're doing these every single day. I'll talk about that when they drop. I believe they drop tomorrow. I don't recollect. I think it's tomorrow they drop, or maybe tonight at some point. Either way, we're going to talk about it. When it does happen, it's going to be huge, so you want to take advantage. All right? Now, we are amidst a Winter Reverie rerun currently, and I really feel like as good as the Winter Bell is, I don't think he's worth anymore. But I feel like the Earth Aisha is getting a big buff out of this event. This Earth Aisha is fantastic still, should still hit hard. I only have mine +1. I am still looking forward to getting some bonds for them. And they're time limited, so you're not going to get another opportunity. That said, let me put the brakes on what I said here real quick. That said, the relevance of this Aisha could peter out at any given point in time. She's good now. That doesn't mean she's going to be good in a year's time, unlike Tiona. So plan accordingly. If you've got some leftover Iris, it's great. It's discounted Iris. It's going to be a fun draw for you. It's going to be worthwhile, in my opinion. Just don't expect her to last as long as any one of the New Year's units. So plan, and she's single target Earth. Though, like I said, that got a huge buff. And if you've got Otaro from the, well, we're getting those reruns anyway here. We'll talk about those in a moment. Moving on. This is the other Winter Reverie rerun. I'm going to go ahead and say just skip this. I think at this point we can easily say skip this banner. Aisha's about the only unit I think is still worthwhile. Maybe Tsubaki, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say probably just focus on the newer banners, my opinion, except with the exception of Aisha. I think Aisha's worth. Belle might still be worth, Belle might still pay out at some point, but I feel like she's probably really the only gem left on these banners, to be completely honest. Now, I covered this last week, but I was incorrect about the timing. This Astray record is around for about another 24, maybe 48 hours, absolute tops. After that, this banner is gone, okay? This Astray record is still extremely good. That Osphie is an absolute must, especially for Record Buster. Lyra's kind of fallen out of grace, personal opinion, but Eyes is amazing. You're hearing me. You got to hit this banner. And the worst part about this is, for me to sit here and promote this, this is a time-limited banner. You have limited numbers of times to hit this banner. It sucks. It truly does suck. But I would value this, I don't want to say over the current banners, but if you're going after Record Buster, you got to get that Osphie, 100%. She's a must. She's an absolute must. This banner, I like Shakti and I like Seer, and they're very useful. Kaguya, I think, has fallen out of grace a little bit, but these two are still extremely good, and once again, they're time limited. So if you haven't hit these banners, my recommendation is get at least one of each. If you can max them or break them, great. If you can't, just get one of each, guys. Just get one of each. Now, the nice part is, it doesn't show it here, but the first pull in each one of these banners is going to be 200 Iris. After that, it is 400 Iris, and you are, this is the old banners, so you are guaranteed on the second draw, not the first draw. So these are old banners. Don't take that at face value. But instead of 4,000 Iris, it's 3,800 Iris. Just saying. Just gotta be real. Just gotta be real about that. If you have to pick and choose, I would choose this banner over this banner, but I really feel like these two are just so necessary. If you could get one and then work on Star Bonds for the rest of the year, I think you'll be in great shape. But that's my personal hot take of the matter. These are the banners that are incoming, and you've got to have Otaro. You need Otaro. And Alan's really, really, really good, especially for Wargame. Alan is spectacular. Yep, there's a lot of banners. A lot of banners, guys. A lot of banners right now. It's ridiculous. This is why I said at the beginning of the video, hopefully many of you have pretty much already kind of done your thing with these banners. If you haven't, you really got to hit these banners. Even Ryu here is still extremely good, extremely worthwhile, and extremely useful. This banner you probably could opt to skip. A Magic Elise is good, but I feel like with the introduction of some of these newer units, I think she kind of falls out of grace, at least in my opinion, a little bit. She's still a really good hitter, but if you have to pick a banner, I would say first hit this banner. This banner is an absolute must. This is number one out of everything we've got. You gotta hit this banner if you're going for Record Buster at all. This is a Record Buster killing banner. Now, minus maybe Lyra a little bit. Lyra's kind of, like I said, fallen out of grace a bit. But the other two, fantastic on this banner. If you have to skip a banner, you can skip this. Then hit this banner. Once again, great Wargame unit. Very good Wargame unit. Great Record Buster unit. What can I say? These two banners are absolutely mandatory if you don't have these units. And I would say go for the max limit break if you can afford it. Now, this banner, if you have to skip, they're going to rerun at some point, usually towards the end of the year. So it's not the end of the world. Definitely skip this banner. At the end of the day, if you can get Aisha, great. But even before you do Aisha, I would hit the new banners. I would 100% hit these banners before you do Aisha. That's just The simple fact of the matter. Then you can come back and go, cool, I've got some leftover Iris. I'm going to go hit Aisha. Now, I'm going to throw a curveball at you one more time. So remember, this banner is going away very quickly. So that's why you got to hit this banner, number one. This one's got to be hit if you haven't. Now, in a couple weeks' time, we're getting this banner. And if you have any light units, you've got to have Erebus Max Limit Broken. Althea is still exceptionally good. She's used on so many Magic teams. It's insane. Magic Rush teams, she's wild. Zard has fallen out of grace a bit. He's still an extremely good unit, though. He's just fallen out of grace ever so slightly. So, if you do not have these units, plan for this banner as well. It's going to be here in about a week's time. So, you have a little bit of time to save, but I hate to say it, guys. Save, save, save. Now, your only saving grace here. The Steamy Scheme units are not time limited. All the other units we've talked about are time limited. These units are not. These units are going in the general pool. If you pull one or two, great. You could pull them later. It's not a valuable situation, but I know a lot of you aren't free to play, and I want to be realistic here. You could, in theory, pull them later on down the road and be just happy with that. Or if you pull one or two, you could get bonds for them later. You could throw prism bonds at them, whatever it takes. You could pull them out of the gachas. We get free draws all the time now. We get 3-star tickets all the time. We get 2-star tickets all the time. You have options. You don't have to hit these banners at the moment. That said, if you got the Iris, I'll 100% do it. I know some people hit me up all the time. Oh, I don't know what to do with my Iris. If you ignore any other before you summon video, pay attention to this one right now. Because I know some of y'all hit me, I've got 32,000 Iris, what do I do with it? This is the moment to go crazy with that Iris. Spend, 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 because it is going to pay dividends like never before. My personal opinion. Let me know if you guys differentiate in the comments section down below. But I feel like these units are going to pay out insanely well. Both these banners are both exceptionally good. There's not really like a better banner among them. Just both are wild and exceptional, as New Year's generally are. But once again, if you haven't done the anniversaries, the anniversaries, you got to hit these. This is going away in, I believe, 24 hours. So hit this quickly if you haven't. Definitely hit this banner. Hit these banners. And if you have any left over, hit this banner. That's my answer. And save for this banner. Now that you hate me because you're like, I have 1,000 free-to-play Iris and I don't know what to do, start a support group. It's the best thing you can do. They're killing us right now with this. My free-to-play friends, they are murdering us with all of these banners, and they're all so good. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Send a link to the support group in the comment. We'll open a free-to-play Iris support group in the Discord. There you go. Join the Discord. Join the free-to-play Iris support group. I'm literally going to make that channel right after this video goes live. Like, comment, share. I'll be back at you guys with more Danmachi 9 p.m. tonight with the live stream, guys. Be there.